He mocked the wise old man, then discovered his hidden power. In the sprawling savanna of East Africa, under the vast expanse of an endless azure sky, lay a small village known as Karanja. It was a place where the rhythms of life were dictated by the seasons, where people sang with the dawn and rested under the shimmering stars. But amidst its idyllic simplicity, Karanja was also a place of whispered secrets and enduring legends. The most prominent figure in Karanja was an old man named Ndala. His age was impossible to determine. Some said he was older than the tallest baobab tree. Others believed he had seen the birth of the rivers themselves. Ndala's hut, perched at the edge of the village, was a modest structure woven from reeds and thatch. But it wasn't his dwelling that set him apart. It was his reputation. Ndala was known as the keeper of ancient wisdom and the possessor of powers that none dared to fathom. Young men and women often sought Ndala's counsel in times of trouble. Farmers came to him when their crops failed, hunters when the animals disappeared from the plains. He spoke in riddles and proverbs, his words layered with meanings that only the patient could decipher. Most revered him, but not everyone in Karanja was convinced of Ndala's supposed wisdom. Among the skeptics was a brash young man named Kamo. Tall and strong, with a quick wit and a sharper tongue, Kamo was the son of the village's wealthiest farmer. While others respected Ndala, Kamo dismissed him as a feeble old man who thrived on the ignorance of the villagers. He often mocked Ndala, mimicking his deliberate speech and exaggerated mannerisms, much to the amusement of his peers. One day, during the bustling preparations for the annual harvest festival, Kamo's mocking reached its peak. As the villagers gathered around the central fire, Ndala was invited to tell one of his famous stories. As he rose, leaning heavily on his intricately carved staff, Kamo's voice rang out, dripping with sarcasm. "Oh, great sage of Karanja, tell us another tale of your glorious past. Perhaps you'll regale us with how you tamed a lion with nothing but your shadow?" Laughter rippled through the crowd, though many glanced nervously at Ndala, unsure of how he would respond. Ndala turned his piercing gaze to Kamo. For a moment the air seemed to grow still, the crackling fire the only sound. Then, with a faint smile, he said, "Young Kamo, it is easy to laugh at what you do not understand. But be careful, the forest hides its greatest dangers behind the prettiest flowers." Kamo scoffed. "And what does that mean, old man? Should I fear the daisies now?" More laughter erupted, but Ndala only nodded and returned to his seat, his expression unreadable. The next morning, as the first light painted the horizon in hues of gold, Kamo awoke to find a curious object outside his hut. It was a small wooden box, intricately carved with symbols he didn't recognize. Attached to it was a note in Ndala's familiar handwriting. "Open this box only if you dare to see the truth." Intrigued and slightly annoyed, Kamo picked up the box. It was surprisingly light, but felt warm to the touch, as if it held some unseen energy. He debated whether to open it, but his pride won out. What truth could this old fool possibly reveal? He muttered to himself. Inside the box was a single black stone, smooth and cold as midnight. The moment Kamo touched it, the world around him seemed to shift. The warm morning air turned icy, and the vibrant colors of the village faded into shades of gray. Shadows stretched unnaturally long, and the once distant hum of the forest grew louder, pulsating like a heartbeat. Startled, Kamo dropped the stone, but the changes remained. He turned to shout for help, only to realize that the villagers were frozen in place, their faces blank and lifeless. Panic gripped him as he ran to Ndala's hut, the only place left untouched by the eerie transformation. Ndala was waiting for him, seated cross-legged on the ground. He seemed unchanged, his serene demeanor a stark contrast to the chaos outside. "What have you done?" Kamo demanded, his voice trembling. Ndala's eyes glinted. You chose to mock wisdom, Kamal. Now you must walk the path of understanding. He gestured to the stone, which had somehow reappeared in Kamo's hand. That stone is a key, but only for those willing to face their deepest fears. Before Kamo could protest, the ground beneath him gave way. He fell into a vortex of swirling light and shadow, his scream swallowed by the abyss. When he opened his eyes, he found himself in a dense forest unlike any he had ever seen. The trees towered above him, their gnarled branches forming an intricate web that blocked out the sky. Strange creatures flitted between the shadows, their eyes glowing with an unsettling intelligence. A voice echoed in his mind. Find the heart of the forest, and you will find your way home. Kamo's journey through the forest was fraught with peril. He encountered illusions that preyed on his insecurities, heard whispers that dredged up painful memories, and faced creatures that tested his courage. Yet, with each challenge, he began to understand the wisdom hidden in Dala's words. The forest wasn't just a place, it was a reflection of his inner self. In one harrowing encounter, Kamo faced a massive serpent with scales that shimmered like liquid metal. The creature blocked his path, its eyes boring into his soul. You have no power here, it hissed. But Kamo, recalling Dala's advice, stood his ground and spoke with conviction. I seek the truth, and nothing will stop me. The serpent recoiled, dissolving into mist. After what felt like an eternity, Kamo reached a clearing where a massive tree stood, its trunk engraved with symbols similar to those on the box. At its base was a pool of water so clear it seemed to hold the secrets of the universe. As Kamo approached, his reflection appeared in the water, but it wasn't him. It was an older, wiser version of himself, eyes filled with understanding. Who are you? Kamo asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I am who you could be, the reflection replied. If you learn to listen, to see beyond your pride, and to embrace the wisdom of others. Tears streamed down Kamo's face as he realized the truth. His mockery of Ndala had been born from his own insecurities, his refusal to admit that there was much he did not know. The old man's power wasn't in magic or trickery, but in his ability to guide others towards self-discovery. As the reflection faded, the forest dissolved around him, and Kamo found himself back in the village. The colors had returned, the villagers were moving again, and the stone in his hand was now a simple pebble. Kamo sought out Ndala immediately, falling to his knees before the old man. I mocked what I didn't understand, Kamo admitted, but you have shown me more than I ever imagined. I am sorry. Allah placed a hand on Kamo's shoulder, his smile warm and forgiving. Wisdom is not about never making mistakes, young one. It is about learning from them. From that day forward, Kamo became one of Ndala's most devoted students. He listened intently to the old man's stories, no longer dismissing them as ramblings, but as treasures of insight. He spent hours meditating by the river, reflecting on the lessons he had learned in the forest. Kamo began to notice the beauty in Ndala's riddles, the layers of meaning that resonated deeply with each passing day. Kamo's transformation did not go unnoticed by the villagers. They saw how he carried himself with newfound humility, how he treated others with kindness and respect. The young man who once mocked the old had become a figure of inspiration, embodying the values of courage, reflection, and growth. Even the elders of the village began to seek Kamo's guidance, impressed by his wisdom and insight. Years passed, and Kamo's journey of self-discovery continued. He traveled to neighboring villages, sharing the teachings he had learned. His tales of the forest and the challenges he faced became stories of hope and perseverance, inspiring others to embrace their own paths of growth. And when the time came for Ndala to pass on, Kamo took his place as the village's guide and protector of wisdom. Under Kamo's leadership, Karanja flourished. The villagers worked together in harmony, drawing strength from the stories and lessons that bound them. And though Ndala was gone, his legacy lived on, a testament to the enduring power of humility and the pursuit of understanding. In the end, the village's tales of Ndala and Kamo became part of Karanja's rich tapestry of folklore, a story told by firesides to remind future generations that true strength lies not in mocking others, but in seeking the wisdom they have to offer. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the unknown. If you enjoyed this tale, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to hit the bell icon to stay updated on our latest videos. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.